Teacher's pet. I want to be teacher's pet.
It's so awkward. It's so great.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Hi.
And for music video sins, Barrett Share.
Yo.
And today,
Your balls drop.
what happened?
actually hear them.
Your balls drop off.
Everybody's going to want to come on this show after this.
They are. Well, today we're going to go back onto our road trip.
On the road again. The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip. Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
And we're going to go to Missouri.
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 All right, Missouri. All right, listen, Missouri.
Mhm.
I'm talking straight to Missouri right now.
Talking some straight talk.
You got to come out with some better movies. I mean, there's some good movies set in Missouri, but there ain't a lot of them, and you need to get on that.
This may be one of the most, we haven't seen most of these in the states we have.
Right. At
Right,
least
that's
personally, yeah.
For
There
some
were-
reason, I know what you meant by that.
I know. But Barrett has two lists. They're about equal in length, and there's one list of ones he's seen or thinks he's seen, and one that he's hoping we've seen. I've seen at least two on that second list.
Nice.
So I will have something to say.
Okay.
But yeah, you got to step it up, Missouri.
Yeah, there's a few I haven't seen on here.
Why don't you chill with the Arches for a bit and get moving on the movies?
I guess Gillian Flynn is from Missouri, right? I don't know, but there are a couple of her things.
Did you
set
say
in here.
Gillian?
Uh-huh.
It's not Jillian?
No, it's Gillian.
God, this world blows my fucking mind.
I know, right?
Yeah, if I guess the name starts with a G and it's spelt like Jillian, it's Gillian usually.
I mean, there's
Gillian
a-
Jacobs is like that.
Well, but Gillian and who was the Scully? Who's
Yeah,
oh,
Jillian.
Gillian Anderson.
Anderson?
Anderson.
Yes,
Is she Jillian?
she's with a G. Yeah.
You guys, Sesame Street, remember? There's G. Gary, G. George.
I
Remember
guess-
this? Jesus.
I guess in the yeah, I do remember.
Okay,
that.
good.
I guess there's it just comes down to you have to hear them actually say their name.
Yeah.
And then it kills me though when you don't know that, you've never heard them say it, you've never heard it in a movie trailer or anything, and then you pronounce it wrong. Someone's like, "It's fucking Gillian."
Yeah, or like Killian Murphy, where it's like, "Oh, fuck you."
Yeah, like everybody said Cillian Murphy when they first saw that
Right.
name, and
Oh,
then
my
finally
God.
you heard somebody actually say the name,
Right.
like him.
man. Yeah.
Oh, you're Killian. Okay, yeah, that's right. We're going to start off Missouri with the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Man, that's a good movie.
It's about 20 minutes too long.
Oh, you think?
Or too slow.
Yeah, I would think it's too slow because the ending is really compelling.
Who directed this? This guy is somebody who's gone on to make something else that we care about.
It was Andrew Dominic,
Click his name.
Oh, he did, was it Lord of War?
Killing Them Softly.
Killing Them Softly.
The Brad Pitt.
Yeah, which
one.
is an interesting movie that I don't think most people like at all. I
like
really like
Yeah,
Killing
yeah.
Them Softly. But yeah, I don't remember too much about this movie. I did watch it in theaters, and I remember Casey Affleck being pretty good in it.
Mhm.
And I remember Brad Pitt being all right in it,
Mhm.
and I don't remember anything else.
This is maybe the spoileriest title of all time.
I guess so.
It is. It's one of those, it's doing that storytelling thing where it wants to, I guess, build suspense or tension by telling you ahead of time. So you're always wondering how we're going to work to, it's almost like Hot Tub Time Machine where they're always trying to figure out how his arm gets ripped off.
Yeah.
I think Brad Pitt's performance, I think he was instructed, much like Willem Dafoe was in American Psycho, to play it both ways during different takes because he is good in this movie, but I feel like he's playing guy so mysterious you never really know if and when you can trust him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the point. Yeah, I remember I didn't see this when it came out. I saw it a few years later, and I remember liking it more than I expected to, but still feeling like it was either too long or moving too slow to really fully grip me.
No, it does take a while to tell the story. Now, the story is compelling because it's Jesse James doing their last ride, basically the James gang doing their last big score, and then a rival gang trying to infiltrate them while Robert Ford is trying to get in there too. I think he starts off with the best of intentions, like wanting to join them, and then he kind of gets turned. And so, yeah, I mean, it does take a while to kind of get those nuts and bolts. Sam Rockwell's in there; he's really good too. It does take a while to get there, but I think Casey Affleck's performance in particular really like grounds this, because he's this little brother character looking up to Jesse James the whole time, and then he has to eventually pull the trigger, and he shoots him in the back. And so it's a cowardly act.
Mirroring what happened with Casey and Ben in real life.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's correct.
And then when Robert Ford and his brother get famous off of this, because he
They
assassinated
do. That's
this.
almost why they do it. Don't they do it for money?
Yeah, they do like a vaudeville act afterwards. They travel around and they
And they
reenact
have, like,
this
super whiteface
assassination.
makeup.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It's
like
a weird dramatic makeup, and they reenact the assassination.
and what that does is cement his legacy not as the guy who killed Jesse James, but as the coward.
Yeah.
And so that's the critical reception to him. And yeah, when you see that kind of weigh down on Affleck's performance, it's really good. It's worth.
I mean,
worth
it just
looking.
goes to show probably not a good idea to shoot anyone in the back.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cowardly that even in 2007, you'll have a movie made.
Yeah.
Casey Affleck had a good 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
this
did.
was Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Pretty good. He's way better in Gone Baby Gone than this, but he's great in both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then there's Child's Play 3.
Okay.
That somehow made it into Missouri.
Do they go to like?
Well, because the first two are at least the first one is in Chicago.
Yeah.
And what this one is, and I had to look it up to refresh my memory. I've seen it.
I have not.
They kill all the Chucky dolls, as well they should, at the end of the second one. But then, enough time has gone on to where there's enough goodwill for them to start making Chucky dolls again.
Oh, yeah, of course.
my
It's just like
God.
Jurassic Park.
Oh my God!
It's exactly like Jurassic Park. Oh,
Chucky
my God.
Fallen Kingdom.
That's right. Oh, my God. I would watch that movie in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, no, for real.
This is shitty. This is, I believe, right before they start going into Bride of Chucky and start embracing that camp,
Yeah.
which is much more interesting
Well,
to me than just a rehash.
No, I know the first one. The first one seemed like it was, even though it was ridiculous, didn't really get on board with the comedy of it yet.
No, definitely
Like
not.
it felt like it was trying to be serious. Then as sequels started coming out, it became more of a wisecracking kind of villain and everything. And then, yes, of course, then they got Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
Which
And now they're working on another one.
are they now?
I forget what it's called, but
Did
they're
Jennifer
working on
Tilly
another one.
get killed off? And she must have gotten killed off in one of those, right?
Yeah, she did. I think she was an actual physical human being at one point, and then like
Oh,
her
that's
soul
right.
went into the doll.
Who?
Nice.
And there,
Jennifer Tilly?
Oh, she fucks him,
yeah. Well,
Right.
and then she becomes the doll.
does she become the doll after the fucking?
I'm pretty sure she fucks him as
Because-
a human.
I thought because there's definitely a scene between the two dolls when they're fucking.
Maybe I got it
Now
wrong.
that could be the Seed of Chucky where they're the dolls.
That could be.
Because I think there's like shadows, like it's shadows of them like banging each other, and
I can't wait.
Plastic parts.
no, it's like for real. They like made it look real almost because they're not showing the dolls, they're showing the shadows. So the shadows look like, oh, that looks like actual people having sex.
The Barrett's searches when he's doing like editing notes for this episode are going to be like, did Jennifer Tilly fuck the doll in Child's Play Bride of Chucky?
My Google search history. Man,
I
it's
can't.
fucked
I don't
up.
even want to clear it up right now. Let's wait to find out whether she
Yeah,
did or not.
exactly. So yeah, Child's Play 3 sucks.
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Then there is so Deep Impact. How much of that is in?
Is the Elijah Wood shit there?
Yeah. The Biederman, whatever.
Wolf Biederman.
Wolf Biederman.
I'm
He's-
ashamed to know that.
He's the wolf, I think. And
The scientist dude is Biederman?
yeah, I think so.
I think it's the other way around.
Probably.
I think he's Biederman. And then Lily Sobieski's his girlfriend?
Yes. Deep Impact, man. Yeah, obviously a lot of it takes place in Washington and like all the places where shit goes down. But I liked this movie more than I liked Armageddon.
Yeah,
back
this
when I
came
saw
out
it.
before Armageddon.
Yeah, and I went back and watched it again.
Ooh.
Man, this.
You know who's in this? Ron Eldard's in this. He goes blind in
Yeah.
space.
Yeah,
And then
that's right.
Morgan Freeman plays the president.
And
Tay Leone is
Tay
the
Leone.
newswoman.
fucking Robert Duvall is the crusty old bastard up in the.
That's right.
Yeah, the
and
space cowboy. Yeah.
Tay Leone has her Rogue One moment at the end of the movie.
She sure does, man. She gets killed as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh man, and she's like, so does her dad.
Yeah.
Remember they get
all
that.
like hug and everything.
That's one thing about natural disasters that wipe out half the population is they do tend to heal broken family relationships.
Mhm. Right at the end.
They do. That's true.
All right. Can we talk about? Well, do we need to talk about Deep Impact more?
No.
It's barely
Not
Missouri.
really.
I mean, we could talk about it more when we get to space.
I mean,
We should totally take the road trip into space.
yeah.
There's a Tesla out there.
Yeah, exactly.
oh my God.
We don't have to talk about Deep Impact that much. It's about a fucking asteroid hitting
It
the
is.
goddamn Earth.
That's right.
And then
That's
they do a lottery
Yeah.
to decide who gets to go into the mountain cave and live.
And, and instead of what they do in Armageddon, which is to send a bunch of oil riggers up and to try to like put a bomb into the fucking thing, they just like, well, I guess most of us are going to die because that's what would normally happen.
Yep.
Or we're going to get hit by one and nobody's going to see it coming. So
Yes.
that's the other part of it.
Mhm.
Well, or they'll see it coming and they just won't tell us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because there's nothing they can do.
That's probably the most plausible if you want to know the truth.
Right.
I know they're out there looking for it, but if you think, okay, anything under 6 months, they're not going to tell us.
Well, this is the whole subterfuge of not only Deep Impact, but also 2012, is that the government knows about it way in advance. And Taya Leone actually accidentally
right.
herself because she thinks Morgan Freeman's having an affair with this girl named Ellie, but it's also it's ELE, extinction level event.
Ah, yes.
And so she asks about Ellie, and he has to come forward and say, "Oh, this is our whole world is going to explode."
Yeah, right.
Explode.
It's gonna
Kaboom.
explode real good. Then there is Gone Girl.
I was surprised to know that this was in Missouri, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that Gillian Flynn likes to write that. Sharp Objects is set in Missouri.
That's
too.
right.
That Sharp Objects 4th episode, I think, just ruined the series for me.
Oh, really?
Not, it's good, but I think they just told me everything I need to know on accident.
Oh, all right.
There's one character in the 4th episode that makes such a dramatic shift in behavior that it's either the grossest red herring ever or I know who the bad guy is.
Okay.
Anyway, Gone Girl is not the same story as Sharp Objects.
Well,
it's the same author.
Gillian Flynn has this knack for having serpentine plots and like double and triple crosses and stuff like that, and reveals later on and things like that. I really like this book. I really like this movie too. I know Fincher fans, I think, kind of discredit it because it's not up there with his best.
Yeah.
Do you guys like this movie?
I like but don't love.
Is it Affleck's performance?
It's partially Affleck. It's partially how dark the movie is, but I also don't necessarily really don't want to sound like a whining little bitch. But I don't like it when a movie fucks with me that much, just for the sake of fucking with me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it probably plays a lot better in book form
Yeah, it does.
than it does in movie form. And maybe it's just that it's just one of those things where I knew going in something twisty was going to happen. And so it really, I don't know. Did we sin this?
Yeah, we did.
Did we do a let's talk about our plan?
I'm pretty sure we did, because especially when she stuffs all the stuff in the in the backyard without anybody knowing.
Yeah, and he doesn't ever go to that shed for the entirety of the movie.
And there was something fishy about that. Of course, I know there's people out there who'll be like, "Oh, it's totally plausible," but it didn't seem plausible to me.
We do get a good Tyler Perry performance out of this movie.
Yeah.
And those are kind of right.
And I like how the narrative goes. I mean, the problem is that you know pretty well in advance, even if you haven't even read the story, that she's alive. Like, there's no way that she can't be. I know that's a big, huge spoiler, but I do like how that narrative goes, because it's mainly him for the first half, and then it shows what she did in the second half and explains how she got it. Now, yeah, that's the thing. Like all the things that she had to set up, I mean, it must have taken like a year or something or longer to get a whole make sure you can make friends with the neighbor that
get some of her pregnant pee and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
there's like so many things that have to go right for this to work. And
yes, she's got to store the pregnant pee.
But yeah, I like this overall. I do. I mean, I think that Neil Patrick Harris, his performance isn't very good.
It is way the fuck over the top, man.
I like Neil Patrick Harris, but this is a little bit too much for him, I think.
If he's going to go this over the top, he needs to be playing himself like in Harold and Kumar and shit like that. But yeah, I mean, in Ben Affleck's performance, you brought that up. That's another one that's just kind of hard. I mean, I know he's supposed to be a certain way in this. But he's
supposed
so
to be
fucking
kind of
dumb.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's so dumb that it's hard to be like, I don't know what to really think about this guy. You know, like I don't know if I want him to win. You know, it's
true.
It's kind of that type of thing at the end. But yeah, I like it overall. I'm the same with. I think I'm with Jeremy on that. I don't love it either.
I like that Rosamund Pike does that narration, the cool girl monologue in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's just getting raw. Like, here's what I did, and I'm going to tell you everything about it, too. Mm-hmm. And, she's good. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Did not know that was Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess especially when, they moved down there because her parents are sick or something like that. Her dad is sick or something like that. And then like when she drives off, then she's like in the heart of Missouri there, I think. Mm-hmm. And she runs into some like redneck robber people or whatever who
she doesn't play her cards very well, that part of the movie.
That's another weird she's like carrying around like all this cash and it just happens to fall out of her purse while they're playing mini golf. And it's like, I mean, come on, man. There's so many things in that movie where you're like, come on.
All right, guys, we need a way for the cash to fall out of the purse bag so that the other people will see. Mini golf.
Well, like, I mean, I would expect like aspirins and tampons to come out before like
you put that
40 grand in cash.
Aspirins and tampons. Every woman's two staples.
That's right, man.
Correct.
Gillian Flynn was born in Missouri.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. Good research on the slide.
There you go.
You had two pig movies in 1995.
That's right.
One was Babe. The other was Gordy.
Yes, and we found out since the last time we talked about Gordy that Gordy sucked ass.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought that I had heard there was some sort of like, and this is just, I guess it's just something I made up because I thought that there was like people who really loved Gordy or what. I'm sure there is, but like, I thought that was like, there were some people who were like better than Babe and all that type of stuff. But, no, apparently it's a shitty movie.
Apparently it is.
Yeah.
I saw it. I don't remember anything about it. Although with pig movies, I get them kind of confused. Like, I don't know what scene is from Babe 2, Pig in the City, or what Babe, the original, except for the James Cromwell saying that'll do pig and all that stuff. But does he say that in the second one too?
I don't know. I didn't see the second one, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw the second one, and I remember thinking, well, that was almost just as charming as the first, and then I never watched it or thought about it again.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean,
George Miller actually directed that second.
That's right.
He's got such a weird filmography.
He does.
Bunch of Mad Maxes and like Babe, Pig in the City, and Happy Feet. I mean, it's just so weird.
It's very weird.
So yeah, I never saw Gordy, so I can't really add. But you said you don't even remember much about it. So
no,
whatever. It's a pig movie. It sucks. Then Guardians of the Galaxy because Peter Quill's from Missouri.
Yeah, it's kind of like with Star Trek, where Kirk is from. Well, Kirk is from
Iowa.
Yeah, so we mentioned that in that one. And once we go to space, we can talk more about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, we can.
I guess we're just going to go to space now. You realize that's going to be the biggest state that we have to cover.
That's true.
I would think so,
if we try and do a space road trip, it's going to be a 4-hour show.
Yeah. Like, all right, today we're covering the planet nowhere.
And the more you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the more you appreciate how good the first one is.
Mm-hmm.
And now, this is a little bit off topic, but James Gunn is off of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, although I think he had already finished writing it.
Yeah, he had tweeted a picture of the script. I think he had finished writing a draft. I'm not sure that was necessarily a lock.
Do they
I'll
say
be
who they're
very
going to
curious to see. I mean, at this point, if I'm making business decisions for Disney, I might just put that on the shelf for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think there's any decision you can make on Guardians 3 that's not going to just cause more drama. At least not for the next couple of years.
I don't know. I mean, the instant reaction was hire Taika.
Well, yeah, but is
yeah.
Taika going to do that? Because it seems mostly like Hollywood is taking James Gunn's side here and suggesting he shouldn't have been fired. I don't really have an opinion on that.
At least the actors are saying this, right?
Well, I think it's actually pretty curious that, not curious, but interesting that none of the actors have said anything definitive. Like,
Well, except for Bautista did.
Even he hasn't said.
Oh, really?
All he said is great injustice. He's almost Trump tweeting about it. Very angry, but nobody said I'm done if they don't reverse this, because I think they know on some level what he was tweeting was irredeemable. And this was going to be my rant, but I'm not angry today, so I'll just very calmly say some of those tweets were 6 years old, 5.5 years old. They're not all 10 years old. Some of this was 2012. I was talking with somebody last night. I found the screenshots and shared them with him, and he did not know that some of them were that recent. James Gunn was a 45-year-old man at that point in time, and that was 5.5, 6 years ago when at least 2 of these offensive tweets were sent. So the narrative of he's grown from this. I read an article on a very popular film site that said the phrase, he's grown from his edgelord days. And I'm like, okay, but his edgelord days were at 45 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 43. You going to let me get away with that shit?
Yeah.
No.
And not only that, but I'm generally on your side, Hollywood, on this politics stuff. I'm generally kind of liberal, right? You know that. But you're giving the side you hate ammunition to deny anything moving forward. You want to rip Trump for grabbing by the pussy? No, he's grown from that. Those are just words. It was clearly a joke. All the shit you're defending James Gunn with. I know you like James Gunn. Just be honest. We like him and we wish this hadn't happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But what about Michael Richards? He said the N-word like 12 years ago in what everyone says was an attempt at humor that was failed, and y'all still have your back turned on that motherfucker.
Yeah, he's gone.
So I'm just saying, one of the themes I'm picking up in life lately is that we really need to stop seeking fairness, because this is not a fair world.
No.
And it hasn't been maybe ever, right? Like, cigarettes will kill you, and they're legal. They have no benefits. Marijuana has benefits and doesn't kill you, and that's illegal. This is not a fair world, right? So stop asking for fairness. Stop asking for fairness. It's not going to happen. It's a fucked up world, and the guys with money and keep making more and making all the decisions.
Well, and the same thing also could be said about this Chris Hardwick thing, too, because Chris Hardwick was essentially shunned and everything.
He was vilified.
And then AMC conducted an investigation
and
said, nah, we'll put him on Talking Dead anyway. We're definitely off the rails at this point. You might as well just go ahead and put this in a different fucking section, because I would like to know how AMC came to this conclusion. I want to know what their evidence is that he should still be on Talking Dead. Like,
they should show their math.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. All they're saying is they hired a top investigative law firm, and a lawyer with tons of investigative experience who conducted a bunch of interviews. But unless we know who they talked to, that really doesn't tell me anything.
But it also brings up, though, too, I mean, if they did find out, well, this shit just didn't happen, then maybe they should come out and say, we don't believe this happened.
Yeah.
We think that, his former girlfriend is lying about this and whatever. And here's why. Don't tell me you went and did an investigation and went, well, all right, we'll just give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, they haven't come out once and said what we found.
No.
And then I also, because maybe the truth will come out in the next 3 weeks before this Talking Dead thing. But I don't know how, if you're AMC, that you can go forward anyway with this.
Well, there are going to be a lot of people upset about it. There already are.
Even if he's completely innocent, his name is so sullied at this point.
Well, and that's the thing.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if you go taking it back to James Gunn, that's the Disney had to do that. This is all you Marvel fanboys who have been cheering on this merger with Fox to bring the X-Men and the Fantastic Four into the MCU. You're cheering on a conglomerate that is now so huge they have to bow when 45% of the American public gets angry about something.
Mm-hmm.
They have to. There's money there.
Yeah.
They need that money. And if they have James Gunn direct this movie, that you have not seen the far right protest like they would if they went forward. So from a business decision, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, right? And nobody ever has to get fired if those tweets aren't ever sent in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody ever has to get fired. You're like the guy who got caught for speeding, telling the cop that other guy was speeding too.
Yeah.
Didn't you say how was it that these tweets got unearthed again? What was the...
Well, first of all, I don't know the timeline. I know that there's a combination of things. There's a far-right Trump fan, what's his name?
Is it Chernovich?
Chernovich, who I guess spearheaded the campaign and got people riled up and talking about it. That's what got Disney to look at the tweets and eventually fire him. But I think what originated him even discovering it, well, first of all, James Gunn has tweeted anti-Trump things plenty of times. And so the right has probably decided at some point, let's go looking for shit we can use against the people who are the most vocal against Trump. And again, Patton Oswalt, when you want to say, look, this right-winger guy has exposed him. He made rape jokes too. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't work for Disney.
Mm.
He doesn't work for anybody who has to answer to advertisers right now. I'm sorry. I'm getting myself off the rails. Anyway, he was trying to search for tweets and put it in his public Twitter box, and I guess for a few seconds had publicly tweeted a search query that indicated he was about to delete some stuff.
James Gunn did. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's when people started looking and grabbing screenshots. And then, this whole thing really frustrates me because I don't think you can defend what he said.
No, they're not funny. They're stupid, and they are offensive.
Yeah.
There's just some, like, why? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
If there was a point to them, if
it were satire of some kind, like Daniel Tosh, I'm sure, has said similar or worse shit, but that's his that's his persona.
It's just like they're talking about in that Last Laugh documentary on Netflix, is that it really the line is it funny? And a lot of times the reason why something is funny is because there's a point and there's an actual something that I can learn or glean from it. These were just straight up, let's make a child rape joke.
Yeah. And even if you go back to even if you buy the narrative of it was 10 years ago, he's still a 41-year-old man at that point. I think I said to somebody, if this had been a 7-year-old tweet from Tom Holland's feed when he was 9, then yes, I would buy he's grown from that. He was just trying to get attention. This was a 40-year-old grown man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he somehow thought this was appropriate to tweet about multiple times.
And it's not like 2010, 2011, 2012 was a time of you could get away with that stuff.
Yeah,
back
totally.
then.
Yeah. Nobody cared
It's
about
not
that
the Dark
shit.
Ages and shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our
Sorry to
Guardians of the Galaxy discussion.
The movies are good. The guy directing them might not be.
Right. Yes. That's the conclusion.
Then we have Huckleberry Finn. This is the Ron Howard, Donnie Most one.
Yeah, man. I saw this in school.
Yeah, I think I only saw the Tom and Huck movie that had was it Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Oh yeah,
and was it Brad Renfro? I believe.
Think so. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I saw that one. I don't know if that was Missouri or not. Probably was. But
I forgot all about that.
I have never seen this Huckleberry Finn though.
Oh, it's adorable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now again got some stuff in there that would never fly.
Yep.
Because there's this whole section where Tom Sawyer's fucking with Jim, because Jim is a free slave or a former slave that's now free, and when they come across like a community that thinks that he is a slave, Tom fucks with them. He's like, yeah, he's totally a slave, and it's like, huh? So I mean, I haven't seen it recently, but if I went back and watched it, from this perspective, you'd be like, what the fuck, dude?
When you say Ron Howard, you're talking child Ron Howard, right?
Yeah, this was 75.
Okay.
Well, it would have been teenager Ron Howard.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Donnie Most Isn't that guy from Happy Days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, he may be more known now for a really weird throwaway Family Guy gag at this point.
Oh, wow. I don't know it.
It's just something
really
they bring
good.
up Donnie Most, and he's like, there's the ghost of Donnie Most is in the forest or whatever, and like all these people are like singing Donnie Most.
Oh, Jesus.
Donnie Most.
As he slowly rises
And it's like his character from Happy Days. And it's like, he played blah blah on Happy Days. And that's it.
And then he disappears.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't he play Ralph Mouth?
Yeah, Ralph. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyway, no, I haven't seen any film version of Huck Finn.
Oh, this is such a good story. It's such a coming of age, like build a raft and float down the river, get into adventures and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's been forever since I've gone back and read it, but Mark Twain is Mark Twain.
Yeah, man. Good book.
Mm-hmm.
And they've made like a million Huckleberry Finn movies over the years. The Tom and Huck, the only thing that I remember about that is I believe Huck has to like paint a fence at one point, and they're like, all right, paint the fence, and once you're done you can go play or whatever the fuck he's got to do. And like there's a scene where the camera just backs up for like, it seems like for 5 minutes, shows how big this fence is or whatever, because he's painting one slat and then there is Johnson Family Vacation.
Yeah, man.
I know I've heard of this. I don't
Dude,
remember
this
anything
has
about it.
everybody.
Is this Randy
It has
Quaid?
Everything. No, this is Cedric the Entertainer, Vanessa Williams, Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, Godfrey. Like there's a lot of people, like a lot of funny people in this. Yeah, Cedric the Entertainer is the main guy, and it's like a National Lampoon's Vacation. Except
Is it an official one, or is it just kind of like a knockoff?
It's a knockoff.
Oh.
It's totally a knockoff. They have to go from Los Angeles to Missouri for a family reunion, and shenanigans ensue. It's kind of funny. I'm down with like those whole original Kings of Comedy. Like I'm all down with pretty much them doing them, and Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, even Steve Harvey before he got overexposed. That shit's funny to me.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen this.
It's not great, but it's fun seeing Cedric the Entertainer.
It sounds, well, road trip comedies with a good cast. Those are, always worth a shot.
4.4
Yeah, seriously.
on the IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, like, I'll watch stuff like We're the Millers or like Euro Trip or like Road Trip or something like that, just because they're mostly
RV.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've seen RV. That starred pop sensation JoJo.
Yes, it did. Because that was that year that JoJo was going to do a lot of stuff. She was in RV and she was in Aquamarine.
She was. She had the song Get Out.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Now.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know.
She fell off.
Yeah,
No. We saw her. She had a song and a video,
She
couple
did.
of videos last year.
Like last year, yeah.
And she's looking good
Yeah.
these days. Now, she was around 13, I think,
when
she was
she did
around this
those,
time.
Yeah, it was like 14, like around that age. And
Yeah.
then, that when we saw her last year, she was like,
She's in her 20s,
Yeah, she's in her
mid to late 20s.
Right.
And, yeah.
Then there's One Night at McCool's. I remember this coming out.
Yeah,
I never
you remember
saw
this?
it. Never saw it.
Oh, man, this is an interesting movie. Now, again, been a while since I've seen it. Have you ever seen this?
Uh-huh.
Liv Tyler. It's Michael Douglas.
Matt Dillon?
Matt
Dillon,
Dillon.
I saw it when it came out.
John Goodman, Matt Dillon, and Paul Reiser. And it's
Reiser.
yeah, it's
one
all
of these
about.
things is not like the other.
It's another one of those unreliable narrator things because it goes to Matt Dillon's version of the events, all centered around Liv Tyler here. And then it cuts to John Goodman, who's a cop, his version of events, and then it cuts to Paul Reiser's thing. It's very like character driven and almost like a play. It's not like a huge narrative or anything like that, but it's really interesting. I enjoyed it.
I remember it coming out. I think this came out during that window of time that I wasn't working at a movie theater.
2001.
And I just never got around to it.
Who directed it?
It was Harold Zwart.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yes, of the Missouri Zwarts.
He's probably done something super famous that we.
He probably has.
He did Agent Cody Banks.
Oh yeah.
He did the remake of The Karate Kid.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the Pink Panther too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he's one of those for hire guys when they have a kids comedy and they're like, they can't get who's that one dude?
Or when Jaden Smith goes diva and just nixes all the directors on your list.
Yeah.
I won't work with him. I won't work with him. He said something mean about my dad. I won't work with him.
Then there is. I know that Jeremy saw this because we did this in the 1976 year when we did the movies of 1976. The Outlaw Josie Wales, which I still haven't seen. I ordered the movie because you spoke so glowingly about it.
I really enjoyed it,
and I have it on my shelf, and I haven't seen it yet.
This was. I think I might have said this, but I had a roommate who was a huge fan of this, and I was praising Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood's Western, and he's like, okay, have you ever seen blah, blah? He rattled off these classic Clint Eastwood Westerns that I had never seen and didn't really care to. And he was like, Outlaw Josie Wales, we're going to watch that tomorrow night. Like, he went to the fucking video store back when they still had those, got the DVD, and we watched it, and I, of course, felt like a captive audience. So, I mean, it really shouldn't have worked. Like, I should have been turned off by this movie because I kind of went in antagonistically, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just I think you could probably describe this movie the same way you could describe the plot of half of Clint Eastwood's movies, in at least the Westerns, in that he's kind of like a drifting guy who comes into a town and ends up saving people who can't protect themselves.
No. He's a Confederate veteran.
But he's on the run.
He's on the run, yeah.
But he still ends up helping people who can't take care of themselves.
I believe so. Mostly it's like him being an outlaw and like trying to fuck with the Union boys. Because he was fought on the side of the Confederacy, he was so vociferous, his group was so vociferous that the Union massacred him. And it just happened that Josie Wales was off to the side when they did this. And so he made this pledge to kill every Union soldier, even after the war was done. And there may be a part in there. In fact, there may be a couple parts in there where he helps out people and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's one of the descriptions it says something like runs into a group of settlers, helps them get settled, negotiates a peaceful coexistence with the Indians.
Right.
But it sounds like just a hodgepodge of things that he's doing.
He was a folk hero, much like Jesse James, that kind of thing. But
is he based on a real person?
I don't know that.
That's interesting.
But this is Eastwood directing. I must be one of his first ones, or definitely early on. But yeah, it is a beautiful movie for sure.
I didn't remember any of that Confederate Union stuff.
Yeah.
And now I feel a little bad.
No, but he does, and that reminds me. Yeah, he makes nice with the Native American tribe there, like Comanches or something like that.
Well, that was nice of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is his fifth movie directing.
Wow.
He did Play Misty for Me, Breezy, High Plains Drifter, and The Eiger Sanction before this.
The Eiger Sanction. You guys seen that movie?
I haven't.
It's been playing on one of these movie channels. I don't know what it is, man. I keep watching it. And
really?
It's maybe the most boring movie I've ever seen in my life. He's like some kind of professor up in some Swiss Alps lodge climbing mountains every day. But he's also an assassin who's there to kill someone, and there are other assassins who are trying to kill him.
Oh, okay.
But mostly it's just really boring.
So it's Grosse Point Blank in the Alps.
I keep watching it. Have you ever watched a movie multiple times trying to see what might be there that you didn't see the first couple times? Does that make sense? I don't think there's anything there. But I've watched it like almost 3 times now in the last 6 months.
He's a good director, man.
Maybe that's a very good mountain climber.
Right.
This has got Roman J. Israel Esquire problems, right? The Eiger Sanction. Who the fuck went to the theater and was like, I want to see 2 for the Eiger Sanction?
Yeah. Well, and it's like it plays like all the non-actiony boring parts of a James Bond movie, only he's American. So it's like sleeping with women, and one of the women might be an assassin who's trying to kill him. It's weird and boring.
All right.
I'm probably going to stop watching it.
You can watch it again.
Probably not going to keep watching.
Yeah. Then there's Parenthood. Speaking of Ron Howard.
Yeah, right.
He directed that. Steve Martin, Rick Moranis, Keanu Reeves.
This was a huge hit. And
it may be the filthiest movie I've ever seen as a 13-year-old.
Is this rated R?
It's PG-13.
Yeah, I remember
which is
it
why
being,
I was able to watch it.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of stuff Keanu Reeves is like setting up a video camera so that they can record him and Martha Plimpton having sex.
Yeah.
He's
He
like,
knocks her
I
up,
set
right?
this up so that we can record our love. and
I don't care about you.
yeah, about your crime. And then there's a point where Rick Moranis says, I can't remember his wife in this. What was Rick Moranis' wife in this? But she either stops using a diaphragm or something like that, and he's like waving her diaphragm on the screen.
That. Yeah.
And because there's a whole thing where he wants to have kids 4 years apart because he read in some study that it's better to have kids 4 years apart or whatever and all that. And but she's like stopped using it without his knowledge and all that. It's just a lot of stuff. Like, and then they made like 2 different TV series out of this thing.
This one, this cast is amazing. Tom Hulse is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Robards, Mary Steenburgen, Diane Wiest, I think, got nominated for this.
Yeah, I think she might have.
Rick Moranis, Martha Plimpton, Keanu Reeves, fucking Joaquin Phoenix is the youngest child that's addicted to pornography. Yeah. And it's got a crazy cast in it. And yeah, you're right. The first try to make this a TV show was a big old fail, right?
Yes, it was. By the way, Diane Wiest was nominated, and Randy Newman's song "I Love to See You Smile" was.
Why do I have John Ritter paired with this? Did he make one of the TV versions?
The TV version was Ed Begley Jr.
All right, I'm just stupid.
And then that was the 1990 Parenthood, and then they came out with one that lasted like 6 seasons.
And everybody had cancer, and everybody cried at the end of every episode.
And it had Peter Krause, Lauren Graham, Dax Shepard, and Monica Potter.
Yeah.
I think it was popular for like a minute.
It was.
Yeah, my wife was super into this.
In fact, I'm looking at these actors, 103 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4 seasons.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, was it 2010 to 2015? So it's 6 seasons.
Wow. Well, all right.
Or maybe still 5.
Just every goddamn time I would walk into the room at the end of an episode, my wife is just bawling her eyes out. Somebody is in the hospital, hooked up to all kinds of shit. I'm like, somebody else has cancer, and she's like, no, it's back.
So is she big This Is Us fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I figured.
Parenthood, this is back in the time where Steve Martin was still at the top of his game.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie's really funny, but like I said, and the movie actually came out when I was 12. It's a filthy fucking PG-13 movie, man. Anyway, funny movie. Then everybody's favorite 1980s bullshit movie, Roadhouse.
Oh my God.
This movie sucks.
Yes.
Why do people like this movie?
I don't know.
Well, but there's like a sizable enough fan base that it's annoying.
Yeah.
I think it started off ironic, and then it turned into, no, this is actually probably good.
I think that happens too often in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Space Jam's the same way.
Yeah. Oh God.
People talk about Space Jam like it's goddamn E.T.
Mm-hmm.
and it's fucking awful.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
God. Anyway, Roadhouse. What do you say? At least they're not going to go ahead with that Ronda Rousey version.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Thank God.
I forgot about that.
That was before she had her face broke.
Yeah.
And before everybody realized she was a terrible actress.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a Roadhouse 2. I've seen it on the TV Guide a couple times. I don't know who's in it. I don't even have the balls to stop on it and look. But I have seen Roadhouse 2.
Oh, Jesus. Jonathan Sketch is in Roadhouse 2.
Fresh off that thing you do.
That's him. Oh my God.
2006 is when this came out.
What is the appeal of Roadhouse? I mean, he's a badass.
Man,
wasn't he like a former Marine or something
right?
like that?
It's Patrick Swayze and he beats ass.
He beats ass.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And it's just appeal to people who love drinking and fighting.
I guess so.
And there's a lot of those people out there.
I guess.
Is this the one where he rips somebody's throat out?
Patrick Swayze ripped somebody's throat
I don't-
out?
I-
I think
don't think-
Patrick Swayze rips somebody's throat out in one of his
I do
movies.
know that
It's
eventually
probably Donnie Darko.
I do know eventually he pisses somebody off and like there's a whole big like showdown at the end like in his house or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it
And,
is. I don't think a bouncer is legally allowed to rip throats.
Oh,
out.
he plays by his own rules though.
Mhm.
But I don't think he murders, at least until the end.
And
in
there's a
self-defense.
scene in two where you got to see what integrity this guy's got or whatever. Isn't there a scene where he brings in all the other bouncers and they're all sitting there and he's like,
Yes, he rips out his throat.
oh yeah,
Jesus. Jesus.
Then there's a scene where he brings in all the bouncers, and one of the bouncers like says something smart to him and like kicks him out or whatever. Like he wants the perfect bouncing team or whatever. Oh man,
I don't know.
Patrick
Not gonna have any back
Swayze,
talk.
man of integrity in every movie that he was in. He
Yeah.
had to be perfect in everything.
Until Donnie Darko.
Yeah, until Donnie Darko and Black Dog.
Black Dog.
Oh yeah.
Then
And what was the comedy he made? Didn't he make a comedy about being a dad?
I don't know. I remember, wasn't he in Tu Wong Fu? Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Oh, Jesus, he was.
Mhm.
He's also, by the way, while we're ripping on Patrick Swayze, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good a job he does in that SNL Chippendales sketch.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's
Playing
true.
The straight
Well, because
man.
Chris Farley's getting all the laughs, but
Yeah.
he's just so stoic through the whole thing.
And but he's eventually, he's every bit as impressed with Chris Farley's dance. Like, he doesn't see the fat guy. That's why the sketch works, is because he keeps trying to up his game
Yeah.
to compete with what Chris Farley's doing.
yeah.
Anyway.
You'll find that happens almost every time. People never give credit to the straight man
Yeah.
in those things. Like, I think forever Tom Cruise wasn't getting any credit for Rain Man because Dustin Hoffman was so good.
Yeah.
And not that he was playing straight man to Raymond and that, but it was that, he wasn't doing anything showy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, well, Dustin Hoffman's so great, and you forget how good Tom Cruise is.
I
Rain
know.
Man.
It was Fatherhood, I think, is what you were
Fatherhood,
thinking
yeah,
about.
okay.
Oh, Fatherhood.
I was all over it except the title.
Yeah.
I said it was a comedy about being a dad.
And we had
That's
just
right.
done Parenthood. Then we have 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. A
Still need
very,
to see this.
very split sort of reaction to this movie.
Yeah.
I really liked it. But a lot of people, I don't know, I think a lot of people brought up that it doesn't focus enough on racial divide and tension. Now, when I first heard that, I went back and just thought about this movie, and I was like, I don't know if there's any room to do that in this movie. That's not the story they're telling. Frances McDormand says it several times just to make a point about how racist and awful this police department is. And it takes Clark Peters from The Wire. Is the captain in this. Eventually becomes the captain. But he kind of set Sam Rockwell, who's the main, racist asshole in this movie, straight in this or whatever, at least says, I'm not going to put up with this like your former boss did. But there's not anything, there's no racial elements to the story. That's why, except for the fact that Sam Rockwell's character is racist, and he has to have a black captain at some point. That there's not really anything in there that you're like, oh boy, they should have really delved deep into that. And I believe that's where the controversy comes from. I don't know. I really like this movie. The reason why I ended up liking it is because it ends with in a way that says, "Is that happy?" ?
Well, that's what I've heard. Again, I haven't seen it, but what I've heard is that it doesn't give you a lot of people to root for. In that everybody's kind of
bad.
And those movies can be really fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't think that would turn me off from a movie. But yeah, it's in my stack. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. The story is Frances McDormand's daughter has been raped and killed. She's looking for the real killer. She doesn't think that Woody Harrelson's doing enough. And so that's why she puts the 3 billboards up, and like, why no arrests? Why no whatever it says on there? Like, just basically saying,
Eat more chicken.
Yeah, eat more chicken. Eat more chicken.
You got to get sponsors. These things aren't cheap, man.
Yeah. So.
So sorry, that was not the right time for that.
Well, and I also consider the optics of that too. But this is another. You have Lucas Hedges in this movie too.
Oh yeah.
But Sam Rockwell's so good in this, and he's such an asshole. And I don't know if here's another thing. I don't know if he's redeemable in this movie, but the movie does try to make him somewhat redeemable and everything. But the movie is basically. I like the idea when they say, you you don't really deserve answers. You don't deserve answers. The life doesn't end happy for everybody. You know, just because you want it so badly doesn't mean that something magically is going to happen.
Wait. I just saw a story about Mark Wahlberg buying a car dealership, and his quote was, "If you follow your dreams, they will come true if you work hard." Is that not right?
For Mark Wahlberg, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, if you're Mark Wahlberg, you can beat a guy senseless when you're 15 or 16 years old and call him a bunch of racist names and just become a huge pop star and actor.
That's right.
That's because he's grown from that edgelord phase of his life.
He has grown from the edgelord. That's right. You are correct on that. Yeah, I really, really, really like this movie, and I was a little confused by some of the backlash that it had. I can understand you not liking it. I can understand you saying, I hate how this ends. I hate how all the different, I hate how Sam Rockwell's character is and how they try to redeem him and all this other. I can see that. I didn't understand some of the other backlash though.
Interesting.
Then we have some more Tom Sawyer movies.
Bunch of Tom Sawyer.
We don't need to really go over those. Then there's Waiting for Guffman.
Oh,
Ooh, Blaine.
Yes.
Stool boom.
Isn't it the stool? It's the stool capital of the U.S.
Sweeping, never stopping, never sleeping, working. Yeah, that's what put Blaine on the map, was the stool boom.
This movie's so good. It's so funny. Yeah. Christopher Guest rounds up a whole bunch of great improvisational actors. You got Parker Posey. You have Guest himself,
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy is so great.
You have
Bob Balaban.
Yeah, Bob Balaban, and there's just Larry Miller. You have a lot of just solid professionals in this thing, and just. Man, yeah, it's just a funny movie. I don't know, it was probably 8 hours of footage or something like that, and they cut it down to an hour and a half of all the best things.
I bet you could cut a couple other movies out of that footage if you wanted to. It's the movie I show people who I'm trying to get interested in mockumentaries. But the sad thing is, I know it's all downhill from here. I mean, unless Spinal Tap, but I mean. I don't know that there's a better mockumentary out there than Waiting for Guffman.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I still like This Is Spinal Tap better than this, but
it's probably you could make that.
Oh,
case.
I thought you were saying after this. No, well, I do too.
And I think Best in Show is at least on par, if not just slightly underneath it or whatever. But you're right. After that, although we've talked about this before. After that, the stuff like For Your Consideration and Mighty Wind, those aren't very good. But yeah, Waiting for Guffman, it's about a local troupe of people trying to make a play.
Yep.
And they all think that they're going to be big.
Yeah.
And Waiting for Guffman's a play on Waiting for Godot because they think there's a critic that's coming.
Yep.
That's going to see their great production, and then they're going to be stars afterwards. And I think that's the main theme of a lot of these mockumentaries, is that everybody's got some sort of they're very delusional, and they really think that they're going to be big once people see how talented they are. And there's Parker Posey sitting there talking about all the things you can get at Dairy Queen while she's working at the Dairy Queen and everything. He's like,
God.
you could get an ice cream cone. Or Coke.
Her audition is salacious.
Oh my God!
She is
pulling up her skirt,
basically fucking that guy. Teacher's pet. I wanna be teacher's pet.
It's so awkward. It's so great. Fucking Eugene Levy comes in for his audition, and he's so monotonous. He can't sing whatsoever, but he's like, and it's. And then he points to the piano player to and then afterwards, as he walks out, fucking Corky St. Clair's like, that was amazing. That was really, really good.
I gotta watch this again.
And there's a point where Corky quits the production, and Bob Balaban's going to be the guy, and they have he's obviously terrible at it. He doesn't have any camaraderie with the people and everything. There's a point where there's a meeting with all like the townspeople and everything, and he's like, I hate that guy. He shops at Walmart. He doesn't support the town. And I hate you, and I hate your ass face
Because you're bastard people.
And his whole thing about like how he's learning British accents and everything towards the end, where he's like, "Oh, you just have to take the H out of all the H words. It's all you have to do." So it's like, "How are you?"
Oh, and at the end, when he's showing off his like just truly pathetic little museum of tchotchkes in New York or wherever the fuck he's gone, it's just depressingly hilarious.
Yep.
I got to watch this again in the next 48 hours.
This is a good movie.
Then we have What's Love Got to Do with It?
What does love have to do with it? Is this the Angela Bassett?
It is.
This is considered good, right?
Yes, it is good.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne plays Ike Turner.
Yeah.
Oh, he goes by Larry.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. He went by Larry in the Apocalypse nowadays.
It's weird that, like, you know, acts like Cher and Elton John and like those legacy acts are celebrated these days and recognized, but Tina Turner, I think, has just gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this like re-burgeoned her popularity, but then it kind of just went away, and she's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne both got nominated for this, and it's really good. Of course, it's also just depressing as fuck.
It is.
Yeah.
He was a big old bastard.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the movie is Ike Turner just beating the hell out of Tina Turner throughout.
Eat the cake, Annie Mae.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a really good movie, and if you want to see like people at the peak of their powers, Angela Bassett is one of my favorites of all time. Watch this shit.
And she nails it.
Yeah.
She nails
Oh,
Tina
yeah.
Turner. Tina Turner's hard to nail.
Such a bastard. You're going down.
I don't know. And beyond Thunderdome, she was really, really nailable.
She has a unique look and style and dance
That's
and
correct.
voice, and somehow Angela Bassett was able to change herself into that character, and God bless her.
Man, I really hope they give her more to do in Black Panther 2.
Yeah, right?
I feel like that was one of the disappointing things, was that she really wasn't used very much at all.
Well, and I feel like that about her a lot in a lot of movies. Like they put her in stuff, and it's like, oh, great, she's in. And then she's always
The most she's got to do is in those fucking American Horror Story anthologies, and she's terrific in those, but those are not always very good.
Yeah.
It's like Ryan Murphy's the only person that thinks, oh, maybe we should use our Angela Bassett.
Yeah, she's got all this talent, so maybe she shouldn't just be this person who comes in and sternly says something and then walks out for an hour.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Then we have Winter's Bone, which basically thrust Jennifer Lawrence upon everybody.
Winter's
Thruster it
Bone.
did.
She's very good in this. In fact, everything's so natural about this performance. I thought, now she's from Kentucky, but I thought that she really was from Missouri or whatever when I saw this, because they've dirtied her down and everything. This is before we even know what she really looked like too. It wasn't her debut, but
She was what, 17, 18 or so when she did this?
Yeah, it's around there, 18, 19 maybe. And got nominated for an Oscar. Like, this is the first of 4 or 5.
But it
nominations.
literally she went to the A-list right away and never looked back.
That's right.
This is a tough movie to watch.
Yes,
though.
it is.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable at all. I mean, I guess it ends up all right, but the stuff to get to that point is just,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is Deborah Granick who did, there's another movie she's coming out with, Leave No Trace. Oh, yeah, Leave No Trace is actually out right now. It's got Ben Foster in it, and it's
Oh,
it's
yeah,
supposed to be
that's great.
great.
Huge.
yeah. So that's also out right now. But Winter's Bone is good, and
She's amazing
a
in
hard
it.
watch, and she's very good in it. And she's 20 when this movie came out. But yeah, very good. And then we have You're Next.
Yeah.
You're Next is a fun little horror movie.
It is.
It's would you call this horror comedy?
I would call it, people hate using this term, but it's mumble gore. People hate using the mumble core.
Yeah, but
it's also a quick and easy heuristic to basically say, this is an indie dialogue driven, not taking itself too seriously type of story. And this is Adam Wingard, who went on to do Death Note and stuff like that.
Right.
But he was really well known for this. Joe Swanberg, I think, is in this too.
Yeah. Who is a mumblecore staple.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. And I know that people are really protective about their genres
right.
and everything.
Yeah.
But come on. Yeah. This is mumble gore. It's exactly right.
Yeah. It's a really cool movie too. Really good visuals. Like the masks are really cool.
It is. It's got a good amount of scares. It's also doesn't take itself very seriously.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of ridiculous gore in it too. But fun movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching it.
This is something that I think even you would like, Jeremy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This seems like a Jeremy movie almost.
All right. I'll have to check it out
because it's not. I mean, if it's not really trying to be all that scary, even though it's got some Strangers feel to it at times and everything. Overall, it's just it's very lighthearted. When you come back and look at it, it's a lighthearted gore movie.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
All right, the others on here. Adam at 6 a.m. I've never heard or seen that early Michael Douglas movie.
His second movie. His second movie they ever did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a 1997 TV disaster movie called Asteroid.
Now, I remember this coming on.
Well, this is
I do not.
Before, did they rush this out ahead of Armageddon and Deep Impact?
I think so.
97.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was right. It was right when those were getting.
It was just before.
Because I remember when Twister came out, there was a TV movie that was like Night of the Twisters.
I do remember that. Yeah.
And it came out around the same time as the movie.
Do you remember that? There was that company, and they may still exist, that used to come out with those knockoff versions of movies.
Yeah.
Like, Snakes on a Plane came out, so they came out with Snakes on a Train.
Oh, yeah.
Or they just slightly changed the title enough to where they weren't copyright infringing. But they'd have the same story and everything. I've never seen any one of them, but I used to see you go into the store and you're like, oh, really? I didn't know that this was out on video. Or, it's the almost exact same cover, but with a different name. Yeah.
It's like McDowell's in Coming to America.
Yeah.
They've got the golden arches. We've got the golden arcs.
Or when the store brand Mountain Dew knockoff is like Mountain Mist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Or like Honey Dew.
Dr. Thunder.
Morning Dew.
Well, we're back to Tennessee Williams territory, The Glass Menagerie, which there's several million versions.
Have you ever seen this?
I don't think I've ever seen a movie of it, but I have seen a play of it before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't remember too much about it, but it's very Tennessee Williams, I remember.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those that's like ingrained in history. I may have even read the book in high school or something like that, or the play, but never seen any of the movies.
Yeah.
The most recent one was 87, and it had Paul Newman in it. I think he directed that, actually. Oh, yeah? But yeah, never saw it.
Yeah, no, I never saw it, never had any interest. It's got to be one of the most boring sounding movie titles ever. At least if you're like a kid.
Except for 12 Strong, the unclassified.
No, that sounds way better, especially to a 15-year-old. Glass Menagerie? Get out of here with your senior citizens movie.
I think in the play that I saw, and I think I did see this play, there's a part in the Glass Menagerie. I thought it was improv. It was so well done. The guy's in the middle of a conversation, and he stands up, and he's like, "Oh, look at how big my shadow is when I stretch." It just comes out of nowhere with that, and then he just gets back into his conversation. After that, I just thought it was one of the funniest things ever because he's in the. It's better to have all the setup and whatever he was talking about, but just imagine him just in the middle of a conversation. Oh, look at this how tall my shadow is when I stretch. Then there is the Great St. Louis Bank Robbery. Yep. Don't know, no idea.
It's one of those classics that I never saw.
Okay.
Then the Kansas City Robert Altman movie. This is a jazz movie.
Did you see this?
I never saw it.
Is it Jennifer Jason Leigh is in this?
Isn't this kind of before her time? This is like a 70s movie.
No, it came out in the 90s.
Yeah, it's Jennifer Jason Leigh, Miranda Richardson, Harry Belafonte.
I'm thinking of Nashville. Nashville's an older movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw this.
I keep finding all these Altman movies that
Why
I haven't
does Altman
seen.
keep making... Not anymore, I guess, but he had a run there making movies about really boring subjects.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make a 3-hour improv behind the scenes of the fashion world.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
I'm going to make a jazz movie.
Or Cookie's Fortune.
You know how to
Right.
tune Jeremy out quick.
Well, and there was also that around that period of time where he did that Dr. T and the Women, which was a horrible.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, with Richard Gere?
Yeah, which shows you an either actual childbirth or like a
I think it's at least an actual vagina.
it's so it comes out of
Like you basically get the doctor's view of a
Yeah.
head coming out of a woman.
Yeah.
Lovely.
At
that's
the end of this
probably
movie.
what it's best known for. And
Yeah.
it's Richard Gere and Helen Hunt.
That's literally all I remember is that last shot.
I remember Dr. T. I'm not sure about the women.
Exactly. Yeah, it is Helen Hunt. King of the Hill, second Soderbergh movie, which I still haven't seen.
I haven't even heard about this movie.
Yeah.
And I've gone through his filmography a million times, but King of the Hill was
I never knew that animated show was based on a Soderbergh movie.
Right?
That's
The
right.
one that came right after Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Mhm.
Wow, interesting.
I remember seeing the video cassette for this for a long time, and it just didn't look interesting enough to me, and I never saw it. Meet Me in St. Louis, which is a classic movie. I haven't seen that one either.
Is that the James Cagney or whatever?
This has Judy Garland in it, and that's
All right.
the main.
Meet me in St. Louis, Louis.
Yeah.
Meet me at the fair. Oh, this is a
That's one of
musical.
those that like Leonard Maltin would smack us for not
Probably
saying.
so. 7.7 on the IMDb. In the year leading up to the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, the four Smith daughters learn lessons of life and love, even as they prepare for a reluctant move to New York. Mississippi Grind.
Did you ever see this?
No.
Oh, this is the one with Ryan Reynolds and Ben Mendelsohn,
Oh yeah.
where they're playing a lot of poker. They're
really?
going on their way to
They're
a poker
grinding
tournament.
like poker players.
Yeah, exactly. They're hitting all the casinos down the Mississippi River, including in Missouri and then Tunica, and then going to a poker tournament in New Orleans. And I've seen like little bits of it, but I haven't seen. I figured that would be right up.
Sounds
your
like the
alley.
poker version of Color Money.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's interesting though, like poker movies that come out, I hardly ever hear about them unless
I never heard about that Grand movie that we saw.
Well, I'd heard of that, but it's something that a random person would bring up occasionally, every once in a while, like once a year. I'd hear about it. Finally, saw parts of it the other day, but so no, I've never seen that. Mr. and Mrs. Bridge. I remember this coming out. I never saw it. This is Paul Newman with his wife Joanne Woodward.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Merchant Ivory.
Yeah.
When Merchant Ivory seemed to come out with a movie every year that was like this. It was some stuffy type of thing.
Yeah,
Remains of the Day,
Yep.
Howard's End, all those type of things.
Yep.
I don't know if Mr. and Mrs. Bridge really fell under that, but all of them seemed the same to me back when these movies were coming out. Never saw this though. Ride with the Devil.
All right.
This had is that Heath Ledger in it?
No, it's Tobey Maguire and Jewel.
Oh.
And
It's got a great cast. Well, Skeet Ulrich,
I was going to say Jericho's in there.
Jericho.
Jeffrey
This
Wright,
is-
Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
One of my least favorite Ang Lee movies.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies that you watch because it has all the elements of a good Ang Lee movie. And then you're like, well, it's just not a very good Ang Lee movie.
This has got Jim Caviezel in it too.
This is like a Civil War era, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember disliking it a lot. That's
Yeah,
really
I
all I
remember.
can say.
I remember it coming out. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
The Heath Ledger movie I'm thinking of is Ned Kelly came.
Oh,
out.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's anything thematically similar to them at all, but
I don't either.
then there's Snitch. This has The Rock.
I've seen it.
You've seen it.
I reviewed it with Aaron Dicer before Cinemasins was a thing.
Okay.
Pretty good. That's really all I remember. Is it Susan Sarandon? I think it's Susan Sarandon. Basically, his kid is in prison, and for some reason, no one is willing to go after the real bad guys. And The Rock decides to put his own life on the line as an undercover agent who doesn't actually work for the police to catch this guy being evil. Pretty good.
All right.
Pretty enjoyable.
This came out actually 2 months after we were born.
Wow. So before we had really kind of taken off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember thinking it was better than I expected.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Spirit of St. Louis. I have seen this Billy Wilder movie with Jimmy Stewart as Charles Lindbergh.
Yeah, I should be all over this movie. I
Good
don't know why I
movie.
haven't seen it.
Very good movie. There's the only thing I really do remember about it, though, aside from the fact that Jimmy Stewart's in a plane for most of it. He's flying across the Atlantic or whatever.
They actually show a lot of that.
Him in the plane, yeah. And there's a point where a fly is flying around, and Lindbergh apparently is like really like concerned about all the weight of the plane. Like he doesn't want anything extra going on here. So there's a fly flying around, and he's like, does a fly flying around in the plane make my plane heavier? And he's like, goes through this whole like thing, like,
awesome.
And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, I guess it's okay, stuff like that. Then there is Steel.
Oh, Jesus. This is set in Missouri?
Yeah. St. Louis.
Oh, God, what a terrible movie.
Yeah, this is Shaq trying to act.
Yeah.
This
is a DC movie.
Oh,
This
yeah, it
Steel
is.
This is a DC comic.
Yeah.
This is part of the reason why he went to the Lakers, was so that he could do more movies.
I think so. Well, it was the rap album and the movies.
Yeah.
But all of them were pretty much panned. Like, I think he made 2 movies.
Yeah.
Kazam and this one.
I actually saw Kazam.
I
and
saw
then
both of them.
Steel came out after this, and I was like, no.
Steel is just kind of like an Iron Man ripoff.
Yeah, but he's man. Listen, he was big. He could play basketball mostly because he was big,
and he's charming.
He is charming, and apparently he's a bright guy and everything. But just his delivery is not conducive to on screen.
No.
Yeah.
Then there's Truman, a 1995 HBO movie.
Ed Harris plays Truman.
No, it's Gary Sinise.
Gary Sinise.
I never saw this though.
I mean, I don't care about Truman. All I know is that Dewey defeated his ass.
That's true.
Anybody gonna get my headline mix-up joke?
No, I got it. I was like actually in the middle of laughing until you scolded me for not.
No,
laughing.
I was actually. I said anybody, but mostly I was chiding Barrett for not giving me any attention.
This was HBO, right?
Yeah, it was HBO.
It's probably pretty good.
Before they were real prestige, but this could still be like the beginnings of them being prestige. Making movies because they've made tons of political figure movies since then. And then there's White Palace, Susan Sarandon and James Spader.
Oh, I saw this. It's like some kind of weird, like milfy sex movie.
Yeah. It looks weird. But yeah, it's James Spader like had a career of being like the greasy, sexy type of dude back when he had the big flowing locks and everything. Sex Lies, a videotape, and was he in Less Than Zero? He was in Less Than Zero, right? He was the coke dealer.
I think he was.
Might as well have been.
And then like Crash, the Cronenberg version and everything. And then this sounds like kind of more of the same. Fucking 2 Days in the Valley. Like he's just this,
Yeah,
he's sleazy but sexy.
He's good at playing that type of character for sure. And even when he's not playing that character, he still seems to be kind of playing that character,
like Ultron.
Yeah, or Wall Street. Even he's kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the sort of the victim, quote unquote, in Wall Street, even though he really isn't. But even then, he's kind of a sleazy asshole in that, and just like.
By the way, to bring it all back together, he and Angela Bassett have sex together in space in Supernova.
Oh, nice,
yeah.
nice. That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah,
Supernova.
I might be the only guy in the room who saw Supernova, but
I may have seen it, but I don't remember a goddamn thing about it.
You're better off.
Yeah. Then TV Ozark, very good show that's on Netflix.
Get on that. Still need to get on that.
And Sharp Objects, which Jeremy has been watching as Shattered Fingers for the last 4 episodes.
I am 4 episodes in. I don't know how many episodes there are, but I just found out this week. I didn't know this, but the showrunner is Marty Noxon, who was Joss Whedon's right-hand gal on Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
yeah.
And I think she was even involved in Angel.
Interesting.
And so it's not really surprising to me that the show is good because she's got a good track record. But she's also publicly come out and said there's no second season. It's not going to happen. There's no story there. This is what it is. Enjoy it. And I've been really enjoying it. Amy Adams is so good.
Yeah, I got to watch it just for
even the parts
her.
of. I mean, it's a fucking creepy ass town, and everyone is probably evil in this town on some level. Like maybe just a fingernail here or there.
You had some evil on me.
But her and the woman's name playing her mother, who that I forgot last week,
Patricia
Clarkson. They're both just killing it for me. I do think the show showed me too much in this 4th episode. Maybe tipped its hand to me a little too much for what's to come. But I'm not going to stop watching it. I'm really into it.
Cool.
But yeah, it's not really specifically Missouri. It's this town called Wind Gap, which I'm pretty sure is made up. And I feel like it could literally be any Midwest small town with creepy people. It could be in Arkansas or Illinois just as easily. Maybe something Missouri-ish will come up later.
All right.
Anyway, Missouri.
That's Missouri.
Yep.
Missouri.
Yeah, it's a colloquialism. It's Missouri, but
once again, you got to step up your game. This state needs to have better movies.
Did we still talk an hour and a half about Missouri, though?
Yes. Yeah,
Well, we did that whole sidetrack.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a
thing
rant in the middle of that.
Have you guys ever been up the arch? Have we talked about this?
I have.
I have not.
I have.
I
You have?
don't think I could do it today. Like, I think I would have a panic attack
Yeah, I could see that.
because it goes up and then over,
Oh, really?
and the sounds it makes it sound like it's trying to force itself through the elevator shaft because the shaft isn't quite big enough. And then you get up there at the top, and you're stuck there.
Yeah.
That's what would kill me today. I did it. I did it as a teenager. I enjoyed myself, even though the ride, I wasn't sure I was ever going to get out of that elevator.
Oh, fuck.
I may die here.
I don't even remember that. I do remember the elevator does have to like do that.
It's like a Willy Wonka Vader.
Yeah.
Well, and it kind of like turns a little bit, almost like a Ferris wheel basket.
Oh,
In
shit.
terms of, it's a very unconventional elevator, as it has to be.
Wow.
And then once you're up there, you're like, that doesn't really seem that high.
Yeah.
Because I could pick out my friends down below who hadn't come up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not as high as you think. It's
Jesus.
not like you're on top of the Freedom Tower or something.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Make a bigger one, St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly.
Dick.
Step up your game on your movies and your arches.
Is there something else that you would like to rant about?
No.
All right, so we'll say that as your rant, and then we'll have our rants, and then
Yeah,
move on
I'm
from there.
also in too good a mood today to really even. I'm surprised I even ranted a little bit about that earlier.
Yeah.
Because but
It's a
we've
good
had
day.
a couple of pieces of fun news today, and
Yeah.
I'm a little too giddy to be angry. So.
So Jeremy has ranted a little bit about the James Gunn situation. I'll go ahead and rant about something. Jeremy, I know that you're a Comcast cable person,
Yes.
just like I am, and yeah, we have no fucking choice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can do DirecTV, but then when it rains, it'll fuck up. So
Or
why?
I could go to fucking AT&T for whatever the kind of bullshit U-verse they're slinging these days.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, I think they're slinging DirecTV now, aren't they?
I don't know what they're slinging.
But they have some internet service that is terrible. And it's
Yeah, well, then they come up, and I've had people come up to the door and try to sell me AT&T before, and it's like, and they'll say, "Oh, our internet is better," and I'm like, "Under what circumstances is your internet better?"
because they're actually still slinging internet through a phone line. And that they claim the technology makes it as fast as broadband, but I'm not ever going to trust internet coming through a fucking phone line.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, because life is terrible and God is dead and everything, we have to go to Comcast. And so I don't know how long ago it was, maybe a year ago, maybe 6 months ago or whatever, they decided to put all those channels that weren't HD with the HD channel. So they're all numbered in the same order now.
Yeah.
All the HBO channels, regardless of if they're HD or not, are in the same block.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And so all of your other movie channels do that too. And so it's easy pretty much to avoid those if you're looking, but you have to really look a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it takes, this movie's on, and you click on it and it's fucking standard definition.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we putting up with this? Why do we have standard definition anything? Every television that you buy is high def. It's not a privilege anymore.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But I think there is a staggering number of rural people still getting their TV over the air.
Fine. Give them that standard definition then. Give me the HD.
Yes.
Why
are they serving you? Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I don't even know, if HBO is they just have standard definition channels and that's just the way it is. Why aren't you giving me the high def version of this? Why can't the standard be in the standards and the HD be in the HD? And I also bought a baseball package a couple years ago.
Awesome.
And it's fine. I mean, awesome in one way in that I get to see whatever game that I want to, essentially. Bad in that almost all of them are standard definition.
Yeah.
There's 2 high def channels that will play a random game, and then if you happen to have, your local stations, your Fox Sports and whatnot, and then like MLB will sometimes have different games from those. Sometimes they'll have the same game, so you don't have any difference. It's like, oh, they're playing the San Francisco Giants and Dodgers on this one channel, but the MLB has that same game. So there's redundancy there with a lot of your HD things. I just don't feel like we're in an era anymore. Like, I remember when HD became a thing.
Yeah.
Like that, it made sense that there were a few channels that did it and some didn't. They hadn't quite gotten upgraded yet. But now, there is no point to that. And I think DirecTV, the only reason why DirecTV, Comcast is playing like baseball in standard definition, I think it's because DirecTV has a monopoly on it. Like they have HD on every one of their MLB package.
Interesting.
What is it? What's the fucking difference?
Why does HBO have any standard definition channels?
Yeah.
You can't get HBO without a subscription service.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So why would they be putting out over-the-air quality standard def to anyone?
Just in case you have like a retrograde TV. Like if you have an SD TV still.
I think those are the real villains in this story.
Yeah.
Are the people who still have old like tube TVs. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You have one
in my bedroom.
You goddamn motherfucker. I've got one in my bedroom I don't even use, a flat screen HD. I'll give it to you.
All right.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the real reason or not. Like I said, it's fine. You want to come out with standard definition. If people have standard televisions, that's what they get to watch. But if I have HD, why are any of those channels, like, why isn't there a second version of that channel that I can watch?
I agree.
What is the deal? And I know, man, when we do these rants, and I don't think we've heard a lot of shit over this. I know these are first world problems.
Yes.
And I know this isn't anything that, with all the other stuff going on in the world, this is this is so small that there's not even really a reason to get angry about it.
Yeah, but that's the fun of a rant.
Yeah, exactly.
Last night, my wife was complaining because all 3 of the channels she was flipping between were on commercials at the same time.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, that's a pretty good problem to have.
Very annoying.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I was between rants for today because it was just announced recently that they're going to remake Enter the Dragon.
God damn it.
Yeah.
The Bruce Lee classic.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. That
Yeah.
has pissed me
By
off.
the way, before you go any farther, how many of these announced remakes have actually made it?
Seems like a decent amount of them.
Do you think it's half or more than half?
Yes.
It's more than half
all
that
the
make
Disney
it?
ones.
Well, sure, all the Disney
Netflix
ones.
stuff.
All the Disney ones will, yes.
Yeah.
They're making a Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
Like, Lion King was silly enough. Your main characters are dogs.
Yep.
And what, you're going to CG some... fucking... But Enter the Dragon actually offended me more than most of these.
There's a lot of stuff that you can remake, and it's going to be completely inoffensive. Old Boy. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit. Do it. Spike Lee, you really want to do your own take on
What
it.
does the director of Deadpool 2 think is that who this is,
Yep.
right? What does he think he's bringing to Enter the Dragon that's going to top what fucking Bruce Lee did?
I mean, Donnie Yen is past his prime, for sure.
Is he playing?
I don't even know
He's probably
who
going
would
to
even
fucking
be.
put Keanu in it.
That would be insane. But yeah, plausible.
I mean, you get me the guy from the Raid movies, maybe I'll think about coming to the table.
You know
But
what?
there's no reason to you cannot improve on this movie.
Yeah, the guy from the Raid movies, and we should know the guy's name at this point, but I don't know.
It's like Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
Something.
there's some
YA.
superb martial artists out there,
Mhm.
but Bruce Lee was, from an acting perspective and from a martial arts perspective and from a personality perspective, was so head and shoulders above everyone that there is no one even close to that right now. What did you watch Enter the Dragon for? You watched it for fucking Bruce Lee. You didn't watch it for general martial arts action and stuff like that, or for the story. No,
Yeah.
you watched it for the star.
Because that movie
It's fucked up.
Is not very good.
No.
I mean, it's just you go to like what you said. You go and watch Bruce Lee doing Bruce Lee shit.
You watch Rumble in the Bronx for Jackie Chan, and even that was before he was a huge star, at least in America. Anyway, so that's one thing. But I really want to talk about this R. Kelly song that just dropped.
Oh, really? It's a 19-minute song, right?
It's a 19-minute song called "I Admit." All right, so
if I did it.
Yeah, it's basically that.
Mm-hmm.
R. Kelly is one of the scumbaggiest scumbags to ever scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
He is a fucking menace to society. He has had all kinds of allegations of having a, quote, sex cult, and I'm not saying that facetiously. Like, this is verified people that have been within that circle and everything.
And oddly enough, not the same sex cult as the girl from Smallville.
Yeah, it's a
Completely
whole
different
different sex cult.
Wasn't there was a weird thing with him and Aaliyah too, right?
He married her when she was 15.
Yeah, she was
15.
She was so young.
Yes, and he's done all kinds of shady shit. Of course, the big one was the video where he's seen having sex and then peeing on what was proven, I believe, to be an underage girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow got out of it legally. The guy's a fucking asshole. He is a giant asshole.
It's not a fair world.
He is a sexual predator, and people still patronize his music. Now, listen, I am a proponent of separating art from artist. Do I think R. Kelly's done some good music in his time? Yes, he has. This is one case that he has done such egregious shit that I can't overlook the artist and separate.
Well, I feel that I agree. You're totally right, but I feel like Chris Brown deserves similar level of scorn.
Yes.
But when he was arrested for basic assault last week, half of Twitter was like, "Leave Chris Brown alone."
Yep.
I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yep.
You either have to, like, you have not looked at the pictures and you not read the story of what he did to Rihanna in that car."
Yeah,
Well,
and at least Rihanna. That's what we know about.
It's a growing pattern that we see the whole thing with celebrities and everything, right? After the Demi Lovato thing went down a couple of days ago, you had a whole bunch of people who came out and said, it had something to the effect of Twitter, when somebody has a drug overdose, they just make fun of them and everything.
Yeah.
When Demi Lovato does it, you're like, leave her alone. She's got problems.
Yeah,
you got to, it all comes down to what you know, right? Like if you feel like you know the person or whatever, you're more forgiving because they come out with all this great music, and I've seen them in interviews and they seem so nice and funny and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't tell you anything about their actual character.
But I mean, I don't know how we decide anymore. It kind of feels arbitrary at times. Because, like, the James Gunn thing happened, I read the tweets before any kind of Hollywood response. I was expecting him to get stomped.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. I would expect Chris Brown to get stomped, or R. Kelly to not be allowed to release music anymore, at least outside of Antarctica.
Well, okay, so he releases this song called I Admit, 19-minute song. I've listened to 10 minutes of it and I had to turn it off because not only is it not a good song, not only is the content egregious, but I also don't want to sit around and listen to fucking R. Kelly for 19 minutes straight. In it, he basically admits, with quotes, "I fuck with women. I don't care if they're older or younger or whatever." Doesn't specifically refute any rumors or anything like that. Basically, he's like, he'll say something like, "People accuse me of a sex cult. What's a sex cult? What's the definition of a sex cult? What's the definition of underage and stuff like that?" It's this awful
God, that sounds
self-fulfilling.
disgusting.
Yeah, he's just like, so what if I fuck around with younger women or something like that? What is your definition of what I should be doing and stuff like that? You see this kind of this reactionism, I guess is how you say it, in people that something that's done something, like tiny, like, all right, so I stole something, but, it was justified because I had to feed myself or something like that. This is not that case. This is where you've been accused of multiple instances of underage women. I don't care how you define underage. I don't care how you define abuse or whatever it is. There are certain standards where you have to meet it, and he is flaunting it. He's saying, "I admit, and I'm fine with it," which means he's going to keep doing it. And that, and people, it gets so much publicity. People listen to it. Yes, he got a lot of blowback on Twitter and on social media, but not enough. He should not have a career. He should be in fucking jail.
Mm-hmm.
Also, blowback on social media really only means so much.
Especially just for a certain time.
Yeah.
And then it's over. It's blown over.
Because people have been blowing back on Twitter about Trump for about 3 years now.
He's still there.
I haven't seen any one of those comedians make an actual difference.
Yeah.
Not saying they shouldn't make jokes, because that's what we do. I'm just saying Twitter is Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, whenever it crashes and burns, I don't think very many of us are going to be sad.
Yeah.
Move on. Anyway, don't give this guy any of your money. Don't give him any of your time. He is a villainous creature and should be somewhere locked away.
Instead, go buy the new album Marlowe by L'Orange and Son.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway, that's my rant.
All right.
Good rant.
Recommends and warns.
Totes amazeballs.
They're great.
It won the Academy Award
Oh, for what?
for best movie ever made.
Recommends and warns. You want to start?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I have nothing but recommends. So if you
Nice.
guys have warns, you can go ahead and go right into those after you're done. But
Serve them up.
I saw a bunch of good stuff. I saw a movie a long time ago, but then saw it again over the weekend called A Separation. It's an Iranian film.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't this the one where the director didn't get to come for the awards ceremony?
I believe that was the movie he made.
Oh, after this.
Yeah, it was another movie he made.
Okay.
Like last year or something like that.
He got caught up in the travel ban thing, right?
The salesman was the movie.
Okay, yeah, okay.
That he made. He also made a movie called Fireworks Wednesday, which I saw on Mubi when it came out.
Awesome.
But A Separation's really good. It starts off with this couple who they don't want to get divorced, but he wants to stay in Tehran because his dad has Alzheimer's disease, and she wants to take their daughter away from Tehran because she can have a better life. And really, the only thing that that she can think of, because he doesn't want to get divorced, is to get the divorce so that she can take the kid away. But Iran is very slanted towards men in decisions and everything, and that's something that it does really well. I think it doesn't comment on this system, this court system, but it does
Just by bringing it to light.
by bringing it, just showing it.
Wow.
And the court system that they're showing in this is something that you would never think could really exist. So that's the beginning of the movie, is just them arguing about that and then trying to tell this judge what they want to do. And so she just ends up moving out of the house, but they still need help because the father goes off to work in the afternoon, and his father's with the Alzheimer's is at home. So they have to hire these people to come by and help. And then I won't tell you any more, but just the fact that there is a lot of complications with the people that they've hired, and this becomes a whole big thing. There's so many complexities to it about the people they've hired in this thing, because just a ton of things happen. Just so many things. You'll sit there and think about this. It's a almost Gone Baby Gone type puzzle as to what you would do, what you think is right, what you think is moral, ethical, whatever in this whole thing. But excellent film. I highly suggest watching. This was the second time I went through it, and I was glad that I watched it again, because I'd seen it way back in the day, and I was like, that was good, and then I just forgot it to time and everything. Now I've watched it a second time, I don't think I can forget anything that happened.
I got to check that out. I've seen some Irani cinema that I've really dug. Like we've talked about Persepolis before.
Yeah.
There's that vampire movie, Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. There's some really interesting movies coming out of there. It seems like the Iranian people, we just don't get access to understand like their perspective.
That's
but
right.
It's really interesting from what I've seen, you know?
That Fireworks Wednesday movie, by the way, has sort of the same elements of that. So it's another one where somebody is hired, and that person who is hired, through just circumstances, ends up fucking up a lot of people's lives. And it's interesting. I wonder if a lot of his movies sort of cover all this type of thing. Another one I saw this one on Mubi. It's called Victoria. It's a 2015 German film. starring, I believe her name is Laia Costa. She was in Duck Butter earlier this year.
Oh, was that the one with
Had Elia Shawkat,
right.
and or Alia Shawkat, and it was the Miguel Arteta movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Maltons.
They were on the Maltons.
Yeah,
podcast,
Maltons
right?
interviewed them and everything. And Duck Butter is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was an interesting movie. I didn't think it was great or anything, but Laia Costa reminds me of a cross between like Carey Mulligan and Parker Posey. She's got that kind of look to her and everything. This movie is actually shot all in one shot.
Really?
It's not. There's no cuts. There's no like hidden cuts in it. It's all in one. I read a thing on the IMDb trivia that said this was filmed between 4 and 7:30 on this night in Berlin.
So it's not even like a short movie.
It's like 2 hours and 13 minutes or
Holy
something like
shit.
that. It starts off in a club and she's like dancing around in this club and everything, and she runs into these guys who are trying to get into the club but are being told they can't come in. She ends up getting out of the club and starts to talk with these guys. And these guys, you can tell there's a little bit of rough around the edges to them, because you can tell that they probably commit some crimes, even some small crimes or whatever. But she's talking to him. She's from Spain. She just moved to Berlin, so she's kind of like moving with the flow of everything. But the camera's just moving along with them in this conversation. At first, they speak English, but there's also German in here too, and it's hard for you to understand a lot of the time. You don't really need to know every single thing that they say, though, because the movie really just kind of visually tells you what's going on. At first I was like, I don't know if I can get into this, because the very beginning of it was kind of like, they're just kind of walking around and I don't know where this is going. This doesn't seem to be exciting. And then they get on a rooftop and they start talking about all the stuff that they've done and everything. And they're like, oh shit, this is got a little bit of an element of danger to her being with these guys and everything, but they seem like they're fine or whatever. And she's sort of latched on to one dude that's in this group, and it looks like they might be starting to develop a kind of a romantic relationship and everything. She takes him back to a cafe that she works at because she doesn't want to go back home. She doesn't want to go back home because it's going to take her X amount of hours or X amount of time to get back. And then she's going to have to come right back, and it's like 3 or 4 hours. She just needs to get some sleep. And she and him like talking in this cafe for a long time, and she's playing piano and all sorts of, it's like really good. Then it gets into this thing where like the guys from the rooftop show up, and they're like, we got to go, man. We got to do this thing for this guy. And whatever. And the movie's just like, just zooms from there. Just like she decides to go along with them because one of the guys can't go or whatever. And they go off and do all this underground shit. It's amazing. And the camera's just, I mean, it never stops. I mean, it's the whole thing's one shot.
That's amazing.
I can't even, they did it in 3 takes.
Really?
3 takes.
Wow.
So it's a movie that I would not call this a wreck-a-warn, but I will warn you that it was for me hard to hear a lot of the things that they were saying, because it's people speaking English that isn't their first language, and it's also they're going, I mean, it's a lot of just going back and forth between English and then German, and she doesn't speak German, and so
did you have the subtitles on?
Yes, but the subtitles only worked for like stuff that was in German.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So that was the downfall of watching. I mean, that was the sort of the the negative to watching this. But like I said, you don't really, I mean, if you can pick up kind of what they're talking about, you're good. It's really the spectacle of watching it all in
down with seeing this. Yeah.
One shot and everything. And like, I'd never seen that before. Everything I'd ever seen that was doing the one shot thing always had a break somewhere where there's a cut. This one does not do that at all. And there were some moments where like things nearly got completely fucked up, because there's a part where she's driving the car and she's supposed to go towards some place, and apparently everybody yelling in the car is saying you're going the wrong way and all other type of stuff, but that goes along with the movie.
Yeah.
You know? But the cameraman and all the crew and everything have to figure out what to do when that shit happens too. So like they had to like improvise some things in that even.
Awesome.
So that's really awesome. One other thing that I'll bring up, I saw on Netflix, and it was a couple of people recommended this to me on Facebook. American Vandal.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
American Vandal's hilarious. American Vandal is a serial type of or making a murderer type documentary series, but it's totally made up. And what I found genius about it is that they created a very real world with so many little details that you would see in sort of a true crime documentary type of thing. Like and really all it comes down to is one day somebody came by the school and painted a bunch of dicks on cars, and just the amount of material that they can get out of just stuff like that. Like, well,
so the documentary's trying to figure out who painted
the dicks.
God, you have sold me on this.
And they're talking about how, there's this one guy who's the main suspect, and they're like, who draws a bunch of dicks on a car? Is it this person? It shows the yearbook of all these pictures. Like, would it be this one or would it be this person? And it's like, and it starts off by saying like, this guy is the most obvious suspect, and it shows him all the different times where he's drawn dicks on chalkboards.
I'm watching this shit tonight,
and stuff like that. But if you've ever seen a Making of a Murderer and all those type of documentaries, it does it so well. Perfect. Like all the details and all the the time things and all the people trying to recreate things and all this sort of stuff. Like they could have easily done this in a real sort of it's kind of like that, I guess. But they added so much detail. There's so many little there's so many events that they refer to. Like there's the party at Nana's house, and there's the there's the time where everybody went to summer camp and everything, and there's all these little things that add up to what they're gonna hopefully find who did the dicks, and it is fantastic, and I'm glad that people recommended it to me. Awesome. I am now going to recommend it to everybody else.
I caught the very end of this the last time I was over here.
Yeah, it's funny. He came right when I was watching the last 6 minutes of it, and I was like, it's funny. They're at a point where I don't think you'll actually.
It's the prologue. It's like what they show at the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
It's the prologue, and you don't really get. You don't really, if you were to go and watch that, you wouldn't know what exactly happened or whatever. The other thing that's ingenious about it is I think that's exactly how it's sort of also a statement on what kids are into and what they have, what they're going through in high school and what they have to communicate with. And I mean, a lot of the things that have never changed as far as popularity is concerned and, all that, but the methods, all the different things that are out in this world, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all these different things, all sort of add and combine to this mystery. And, it's a highly recommended show.
I'm gonna check that out.
It's gonna be my evening.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be, Naked and Afraid, and then
yeah, for sure.
I don't have any warns.
I
mean, I don't have any recommends.
Okay.
I only have warns. Do you have a recommend?
I've got a soft recommend, so let's do warns.
Okay, so I saw Battle of the Sexes yesterday.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
This is the Emma Stone,
Steve Carell
movie about Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs playing tennis. The Battle of the Sexes happened in the 70s, 72, 71, somewhere in there. And it was a huge mark on the timeline of women's rights in terms of equality.
And they still don't get paid nearly as much as the guys. They
still are not equal.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember when this movie the trailers came out, and I remember when it was released, and then a few weeks ago I was like, whatever happened to that movie?
Yep.
And now I know. It's just not very good.
Is it not good, or is it just like a regular adaptation, or like a biopic?
Well, it's trying to be two biopics in one, because it's alternating between her story and his. And its premise is that leading up to this tennis match, they're both dealing with much more intense personal struggles. But the movie doesn't have the balls to go for any of that. So he's been kicked out of his house by his wife because he gambles too much. And she's just had her first lesbian experience on the road at a tennis tournament and is married. And
Oh, she was married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She was married to a guy named Larry King.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yes. Not that Larry King.
Yeah.
And it just, the performance from Emma Stone is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The Steve Carell performance is troubling for me because he's basically playing Michael Scott. And I can't see, he looks like Michael Scott with a few more pounds thrown back into the 70s is how he behaves. Now, I was not born yet. I gather from what little reading I did that Bobby Riggs was kind of an over-the-top personality, and that leading up to this tennis match, he was horsing around doing photo ops with ginormous tennis rackets, and she was working hard and training, and the movie suggests that's partially why she beat him. Keep in mind, he's twice her age at this point. He's like well into his 50s, but he had defeated the number one tennis player on the women's side.
Yeah.
She was still in her career, right? She
Oh
wasn't-
yeah, she was in her prime.
In her
Jean
prime,
King was,
okay.
yeah, she was in her prime. She went on to win plenty more tournaments after this. And there's something about the look of this film that just, it's like you're watching people play dress up instead of being immersed into a time period.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is some kind of like costuming uncanny valley, or if it's that they got the costuming perfect, but then they shot it with a 2010 kind of look. But I don't get immersed in their version of the early 70s. It feels more like we're playing dress up. And I got done and I was like, well, now I know why nobody made a huge fuss about it and it wasn't really nominated for a bunch of awards. It's not bad.
I saw this on a plane and I thought it was perfectly fine. I mean, it's not great or anything.
Yeah.
I did think it was weird that Emma Stone was playing Billie Jean King. There's a couple of moments in there, and I don't mean to be mean or anything. I'm not trying to be, but I don't think Billie Jean King was ever known for her looks, really.
She was not really.
And there's a couple of times where they're talking about how cute she is and all this other stuff, and I'm like, maybe people said that back then. I don't know. Just doesn't seem like exactly correct to put Emma Stone in this role. I know why you do that though.
Yeah.
And I had first heard the story when I remember Sports Illustrated, when you have subscriptions to Sports Illustrated, they give you these videos and be like not so great moments in sports.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that they'd covered in there was this Battle of the Sexes thing. And it's a very short segment that they put in there and basically say Billie Jean King kicked his ass, and that was it, you know. And this, at least finally, I got to hear a little bit more of the story. And that was why I found it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I think on its own, that's the reason why it never had much of a big takeoff or anything.
There is one really good scene with Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman is playing basically a sexist. In the beginning of the movie, he runs the tennis circuit for women and doesn't want to pay them equal pay to what the men make, even though they draw the same crowds. And it leads Billie Jean King and another tennis player to splinter off and start their own league that becomes the main female tennis league. Then all the way at the end, when they're about to do this Battle of the Sexes with Bobby Riggs, Bill Pullman walks in, and they're like, oh, he's going to do the announcing. And Billie Jean King's like, no, he's not. And they go off into this room to talk privately, and she owns his ass. I don't know if that's how it went down in real life, but when they walk out, because when they walk in, Bill Pullman was cocky as shit. When they walk out, he says, sorry, Bobby, and walks out of the room. And that scene was great, but none of the rest of the movie lives up to that level, I didn't think. So.
I'm ready for some Emma Stone. I'm ready for her to come back. La La Land obviously wasn't that long ago, but then before that, in between Birdman and La La Land, like she did some forgettable stuff like
I want to
Aloha
see
and
her
shit like
getting
that.
her Amy Adams stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see her doing an Arrival. Or
I need
a Sharp
more of
Object,
that.
something weighty and heavy, because she's great.
Yes.
But it's so much of her stuff is light. Like, even La La Land, she almost makes me cry, but that movie that's not a heavy movie.
Right.
I want to see her do something heavy.
Well, that's the thing too. It's hard to believe that she's 30.
Yeah.
And I think she could still play like Easy A if she wanted to.
She could.
It's one of those type of things. But it is time for her to get some more grown up type of stuff. It's astounding to me that she's 30, but like, it's time. It's time for her to get to that.
Now, maybe
like
it
said,
could be
the
she
Amy
took
Adams
this
stuff.
gig thinking this was going to be that. And then throughout the course of the production, it just, because it just doesn't give the dramatic part of it enough weight. And it gives way too much time to Steve Carell being goofy and jokey. And Anyway,
it did not look. Yeah, I was not interested in watching this just from the trailer alone.
And I was even thinking, man, Steve Carell in Foxcatcher was like, he showed me something there.
Oh yeah, no,
and then he just reverted right back to The Office for
and
this.
He's
movie.
got so much more range. I mean, look at Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh yeah,
or like a lot of the shit that he's done, or even The Big Short. Like he's got range. He's got a lot of range.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you're going to do a Bobby Riggs type character, you're going to think of a Michael Scott, somebody who's like super sexist and says inappropriate things and everything. So I can see why he was cast and did that. It's not like this one movie degrades all the other stuff that he's done.
Oh no,
I think it does. I think it totally degrades.
Yes, because of this movie, Emma Stone should be nixed.
That's
Let's
right.
End her career.
Blacklisted.
I have a quick warn, and it's because this movie is interesting to me. We just did Pacific Rim Uprising for the Sins channel, and I got into an email exchange with Jeremy, and I was like, "Man, this movie sucks." I prefaced it by saying this movie sucks, and the movie does suck. It sucks, but there's something about this movie that I like. There's like I don't know if it's the color palette or if the effects do seem JV, but they're better than like a B movie. Like Charlie Day, John Boyega, like there's enough there to where like I would probably end up accidentally watching this again and watch the rest of it.
I am hugging the tree. I'm not coming out on this branch with you. I had an abysmal time watching that movie. I actually come away from that movie feeling sorry for John Boyega. That's the number one thing I feel coming away from that, because somebody sold him a bill of goods.
Yeah.
Somebody sold him a movie that they never intended to make. In terms of, that's the reason I made that joke about it feeling JV, because it feels like they sold Boyega on the varsity version of this movie and then budgeted it to where they could only hire JV people all around him.
Yep.
And it's really disappointing.
Bait and switch, man.
They're like, we got an Eastwood. And he's like, really, Clint? Well, it's Scott. But he squints a lot.
Yeah.
I love that Sins video has a Sin that calls him by name, and then like 5 Sins later calls him Discount Chris Evans.
Yeah, not Chris Evans.
Yeah.
We've already proven we know who it is.
My favorite was the Discount Shailene Woodley, because that girl is totally Discount Shailene Woodley.
She is. Oh my God.
But yeah, no, there's no reason to watch this. The females have no agency whatsoever. The effects are not good. Charlie Day is way over the top. The poor dude, science guy at the end is shot entirely like in weird Dutch angles, like straight on. Just something about it.
You'll probably watch it again.
It's a 20% for me, and I've watched 20% movies twice.
I have too. That's all right. I like it. I don't agree with you, but I like that you're willing to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to watch Consenting Adults again, but I would probably watch. By the way, did you know Chris watched Consenting Adults after I did that?
Watched
like
it
the
that
same day. Yeah.
Watched it that day.
You regretted it?
We had an epic text exchange.
I bet it was awesome.
I was like, because I got about, I can't remember where I was in the movie. I guess I watched the whole thing. But yeah, I texted him. What did I say? I was like, I don't even understand what the plan is in this movie.
Oh, no, it's because he gets let out on bail and then goes right to the crime scene.
Yeah.
He gets let out on bail. He walks into the house where he supposedly murdered.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like
the door's open. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Consenting adults. What in the actual fuck is going on in this movie? I was like, Spacey's plan is ludicrous. I don't know what the hell happened. and then I was like, did they let Kevin Kline out on bail or because he's on for murder?
Yes.
They let him out on bail and he comes out and he's just like investigating the murder.
For days on end. He can travel anywhere. He goes to like New Orleans and like South Carolina, and like he's just all over the place.
And it's one of those movies too, like the beginning of it where it was like, here's why this movie's rated R4, and it was like nudity, strong sexual content. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch this movie, and there was no strong sexual content.
No,
there was a little bit of nudity, but it was.
Speaking of movies we talked about last week, I watched Straw Dogs this week.
Oh yeah,
the
James
remake?
Marsden, Kate Bosworth. I regret that.
Yeah. Well, it's got some.
We got it a little wrong, because like she used to date Skarsgård. Battleship.
It's Alexander
Skarsgård. Yeah.
Is he related to Stellan?
He is. He's his son.
Yeah. Okay.
And just like Bill Skarsgård, which is their brothers.
The guy from It.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, sweet. I'm actually going to try and remember that this time. He dated her in high school. And she moved away, and now she's a famous actress. She's on a TV show. And she's moved back to town with her screenwriting husband, James Marsden, who may be the most woefully miscast person in a movie ever. Because he should be playing one of these redneck rapists that's fixing the roof. Sorry, I don't mean that. I'm just saying James Marsden playing the kind of nebbish, meek, non-alpha male.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't really work. But there's a part where they take him out hunting. Everybody. Skarsgård's there. Wally Balls from Entourage, or the porn director guy that they keep working with, Billy.
What is his name? Reese.
That actor's in this. They take Marsden out hunting. It's not hunting season, by the way, so he's going to get in trouble later for having shot a buck. But somehow they get separated while hunting. Skarsgård leaves the hunting grounds and goes all the way back to Marsden's house, where he's convinced Kate Bosworth wants to sleep with him because she let him see her change her shirt through the window earlier. She explicitly says no, but he's still convinced that this is some kind of a game, and he rapes her. Then he realizes she didn't want it. Right when the guy from Entourage walks in, Skarsgård feels bad and sits down to think about what he's done, and the other guy rapes her.
Oh, yeah.
You also probably forgot James Woods is in this movie as an angry, God-loving, America-loving prick.
Seems to be coming
who
up a lot.
wants to kill the guy from Prison Break. Dominic, whatever, Dracula. I'm all over this guy. Dominic Purcell, something like that.
Oh, that's right, Dominic Purcell.
He's basically Lenny from Grapes of Wrath.
Right.
Of Mice and Men. And he keeps touching and breaking and hurting women. And James Woods has a hot cheerleader daughter, and he wants to kill this guy because he talked to the daughter. That's a major subplot. In fact, the whole entire climax of the movie happens because that guy actually does accidentally kill James Woods' daughter and ends up trying to hide at Case Bosworth's house. So Skarsgård and James Woods and all the evil rapists are outside, and Marsden says, "No, I'm not going to let you in." And then the confrontation. Boy,
and then he kills.
I really regretted watching this movie. This movie was not fun.
Yeah, nothing about that sounds fun.
No,
I mean I saw it, and this sounds familiar, but
like Walton Goggins is in it. He's got like 5 scenes. He's basically George from Grapes of Wrath.
Grapes of Wrath.
Yes. Yes. Everybody remembers that character.
So you covered Prison Break, Of Mice and Men,
Dracula,
Wally Balls.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't
Pennywise.
I didn't even do One Blue Crush. A Battleship. I got a battleship in there.
Jesus Christ. That's amazing.
We ran the gamut.
Oh my God. Hey, next week, baby, questions.
We'll be doing fucking questions.
That's right.
We've had questions that we've wanted to answer for about 3 months now.
And we still do. And we've got enough to fill a whole episode and more.
And I'll be sending Barrett even more after we're done.
They're fun, man. I really enjoy, because we can come up with our own stuff, and we've got this template of going through and talking about all the movies with the states and everything and our rants. But getting questions from different perspectives of what's your favorite scene in a water park or something like that. That's not one of them, but it's something that, yeah, exactly. Something that we wouldn't think about.
Yeah.
And it forces you to kind of go outside. We've all got our favorite movies that we can quote and all that stuff that we bring up over and over again, but you also kind of explore a little bit outside of that with these questions. So keep them coming.
Yeah. So one of those many places that you can ask questions is the SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. You can also go to Twitter, the Cinemasins account. You can go to SoundCloud. There are a lot of places that you can come and do comments.
That's right.
And each one of us represents one of those entities. I'm Facebook. I am Facebook.
You are Facebook.
And I am Twitter.
And Jeremy is Twitter. And
I'm
Barrett
Queens Boulevard.
That's right. And Barrett is SoundCloud, which is the same as Queens Boulevard.
Also on Music Video Sins Twitter, got a question that we loaded up for today.
Yeah,
that we'll get to next week.
Yeah. So a lot of places to find us and ask questions and comment on the episode and everything. But that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Yeah, I got to see 5 of these movies. And then, Netflix has got some fucking thing awesome.
They'll dump
or
an
whatever.
entire season of something.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone through 2 fucking seasons on Netflix in the past week or 2. It's just, and then there's, other movies coming out like 8th Grade at Belcourt and Mission Impossible.
I really want to see. Have we ever had any interaction with Bo Burnham?
No, I don't think so.
Because he kind of came up around when you guys started, right?
I'm telling you, man. He's like, every time one of these guys comes out, he's like a Tiger Woods in the entertainment industry. I'm going to try this. He's fucking awesome at it. I'm going to try this. He's fucking awesome at it. And I'm like, this is how I know I'm always going to be just kind of okay at 1 or 2 things. Right? Like, I've never... Because if I was going to be that good, then the first of everything I ever did would be that good.
Yep.
And it's just not.
Yep.
It's not. If Bo Burnham put out a novel about disabled superhero kids, it wouldn't have any typos in it. It would go to the number 1 on the bestseller list and already be converted into a movie.
Yeah.
Because he's got the it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he came around that time that we started. I know that he had that big special where it was just a whole bunch of things. It wasn't just stand-up comedy.
Oh, yeah, that was music.
Yeah, and just like play on the stand-up comedy thing. Like it was a big one-man show.
Oh, really?
Essentially.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
The
any of
first
that.
thing that he ever came out with when he was like 20, probably 19 or 20 when he did it. 'Cause
I
he was
think
super
prior to
young.
that, he just had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then he did that. And I think he actually has done 2 of those shows, 2 different one-man shows that are critically acclaimed and have lots of fans. He's like, I'm going to make a movie. It's apparently, by all accounts,
fantastic.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Of course,
I'm
you
just
know,
like-
we have to, you have to also stand back a little bit and realize that a lot of times when these guys come out with their first movie, it's something that's very personal to them that they've been chewing on for years.
Yeah, it's like Greta Gerwig.
Yeah, and to find out if they're truly talented in that sphere, I think you have to kind of see if they've got 5 or 6 or 7 good movies in them because, I like Mike Birbiglia. I've seen both of his movies he's directed. I thought Sleepwalk with Me is a really good movie. And then I saw the Don't Think Twice movie.
Did you like that?
I thought it was all right.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, but you
can tell that's very personal
he's
too, right?
That's another thing that he knows very well and everything. And I would, I'd like to see what he would do if you just gave him Transformers or some shit. He wouldn't do a Transformer, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's why Jordan Peele is so unbelievable because he went with something completely opposite that he was accustomed to. Never directed before, I don't think. And I mean, yeah, some of the content is personal, I'm sure, but the story wasn't.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I might ever be good at is like stories. Like, I don't even know if I will ever consider myself a good writer as much as like the book that I wrote. I think my story is awesome.
Hell yeah, it is.
But I don't know that the writing is as good as the story is.
I
And if
don't
you
know.
were making a movie of that and I were on set and I was the director and you were like, all right, where do you want to put the camera? I would be frozen.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue.
You have to have some sort of experience. Like Jordan Peele obviously was on the other side of the camera, but I'm sure he was like poking around and like asking questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think
I would have no clue like what end of the camera to look through.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I guess to a certain extent, you have people who surround themselves with talented, knowledgeable individuals they trust. But then I think you have these people who just know, they just have this vision, and whether they know how to articulate it in film terminology or not, they know where they want the camera, they know what they want in the shot, and I would not be that guy. I'm not like the shot composition guy.
You'd probably.
I
pick
really
it up
should be
pretty
writing
quick.
comic books because I think that is the only place I could ever shine, truly.
You and Sims are going to do that thing?
Actually, I think we are
think it'd be
over
awesome.
over a couple of months because what happened was he sent me a page of panels for, he's done this twice in the last week, for something he's working on, and I said, that looks awesome. And it's especially fun because none of the speech bubbles and narration is there. I can make up the story as it goes. And he said, LOL. And I was like, for instance, the bottom middle panel, she's saying this. And it was like, get out of here, you ghost-seeing white boy or something. And he started laughing. I was like, we should do a whole comic like this. And he was like, yeah. And then I asked his permission before I tweeted it. But the response has been pretty insane. Like, that tweet got way more attention than my cat tweet.
Oh, really?
The same night. And that never happens because cat tweets.
They kill.
Half the reason I ever post a cat tweet is because I just want something positive on my feed. I want something people can rally behind and say, we all like this.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Mad Libs for comics.
Exactly.
Put adjective.
Yeah,
noun,
exactly.
verb.
Yeah.
I am, however, going to see Mission Impossible tomorrow.
We're going to see it tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You guys are balls. Me
Even
too.
though it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes long or something.
I don't care.
Like that.
It's going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes of awesome.